Hey, Sonic! Welcome back!
And just like that, I cried. So Sonic Frontiers has been out for a couple days now, and I want to talk about it because I have not even beaten the game, but I have so many thoughts. I just got to the second map, and I am losing my mind over this game. For all those people that are always like, oh my god, Melody, your voice is so relaxing, you should make a podcast ASMR thingy so I could fall asleep to your voice. Here you go. I'm just gonna talk about Sonic. So hopefully you have really nice dreams if you fall asleep to this video and they're not about Sonic. So yeah, I found my way to this little fishing area, and I knew it was a thing. But I don't know, I was just in so much shock from seeing Big and the music kicked in that my brain just kind of broke down. And this is the thing, right? The music here, it is a lo-fi beat for sure, but it sounds so similar to the Sonic Adventure 2, the jazzy themes, Rouge's theme, or in Sonic Unleashed, some of the Hub World music. It sounds so familiar to that, but also doesn't sound to the point where you can tell they're really, really trying to make it sound like that and trying to pander off of nostalgia, some things in this game. I don't know, I just lost it, and I felt like I was a kid playing Sonic again and discovering Sonic for the first time, and how much that really changed my life. And you think I'm exaggerating, oh my god, Sonic changed my life. No, we're gonna get into that because some stuff came up recently that literally would not have happened if I hadn't gotten into Sonic 10 years ago. So yeah, just the music of this area, and then the fishing with Big, and I know that we've never had, there was Sonic Adventure 1, but it wasn't really like this, but it still just reminded me so much of being a kid that I just, something in me broke down. Another thing that just, blew my mind away, this is, a little spoilery, but also I feel like it's not, because it's kind of been, everywhere, and, it sets you up that you're gonna do this, very early on in the game, and but, that final boss of the first world, oh my god, that first final boss blew my mind. From the music, which is the most hardcore Sonic song we've ever had. We've had pop punk, we've had kind of hard rock and metal, but we've never had a full-on screamo song. But yeah, it was just such a build up. It was amazing. I knew it was gonna go hard. I did not know it was gonna go that hard. I was in tears again, but these were more I wish I kind of had a reaction. I've been playing it on my own, obviously, forgot to mention that in the beginning of the video, but I've been playing it on my own. I'm probably still gonna keep playing it on the channel if people want to see that, and even if they don't want to see that, because I'm sick of playing Monster High games, I don't want to play Sonic, but I wish I had my reaction to this first boss on camera, because I went and I took it in my room, I played on my Switch, and I was just in the dark playing Sonic, and then all the music started kicking in, and he was Super Sonic, and you were flying around defeating this Titan, and I was screaming, and I was oh my, well, I wasn't screaming because everyone in my house was asleep, but I was screaming, whispering. I was oh my god, this is insane, this is so much like the old Sonic games, but again, not in a way where it feels like they're pushing, trying to market off of nostalgia, and I just freaked out. And it blew my mind, really. I've really struggled trying to figure out what my favorite Sonic game is the last couple years, because it's okay, I like the gameplay of Colors a lot, but I don't like the story at all, and I don't like how a lot of the levels are just very short, and it just, I don't know, it just feels weird. A lot of the times it does that thing in Sonic where the game kind of plays itself for you, and I'm not a fan of that. I love Unleashed, I love the music, I love the story, I love the environment, but also the Werehog levels really frustrate me. And I don't think they're as bad as some people make them out to be. They actually are really fun. It's just I feel like they needed to be a little easier and a lot less longer, because some of those can take you 45 minutes. And that's even if you know your way around, you're good at the game, it could still take you almost 30 minutes. And it's if I'm playing a Sonic game, I want to sit down and be done with this within like 5 minutes, you know? Like, not like the colors levels where some of them are like 40 seconds, but it's like at most 5 minutes, like not 35. And then it's like, I love Generations for like the music and the environment, the gameplay, but something about it, like, I don't know, it's just like not my absolute favorite, because it's like I've played all these levels before, and that's what's gotten me really frustrated in newer Sonic games, because it's like you just keep reselling us the same levels. And then like Forces, don't even get me started on Forces. And like Lost World honestly wasn't that bad. Fun fact, that was actually my first Sonic game I ever played, which is kind of awkward. I don't want to talk about it, but anyway, a little bit of backstory with like my Sonic life. Yeah. I have talked about this in a video, I think it was like the Mario and Sonic Olympic Games video, but yeah, the first time I really saw Sonic was with the Mario and Sonic Winter Olympic Games, and I was like, whoa, this guy's cool and he's fast. And then I watched a couple of the cartoons after that. Like, I kind of watched it from afar, like the series as a whole, because I had a lot of anxiety, and I had this thing where I felt like I was always doing something wrong and my family was always gonna get mad at me. So like Sonic was a lot more like edgy than the games that we would play, which like it's not, but like compared to the stuff I was playing as like an 8-9-year-old, and I know that if my parents actually saw Sonic at that time, they wouldn't have cared, but I was just so afraid to even like do something like that could possibly get them upset. They weren't abusive or anything, I just want to like say that, but I just had a lot of anxiety as a kid, and I could not handle adults being angry at me at all. So if I thought anything I could do could make them angry, I would just avoid it. And I know it really does sound like I was in like an abusive home or something. I promise I was not. I literally was just such an anxious child. I watched it from afar, and then at 13, we talked about this before, I had very bad OCD. I never got it diagnosed, but my mother got diagnosed as a child, and my family's like kind of weird about diagnoses and stuff. Yeah, that's a word. And I also, like, now that I'm older, I could go get diagnosed, but I don't really have that kind of money. Anyway, the reason I know I have it is because, again, we know she has it, and I have everything she has. And I'm gonna bring you into an example of a moment when I had a horrible, like, OCD freak out. But something that I needed to be, like, in control of at all times was I used to make orders for my clothes. Like, I'm gonna wear this on this day and this on this day, and I had a lot of clothes, so sometimes I'd, like, lose things. And I was sitting in church one day, and I realized that, like, a bunch of things got messed up. Like, my pants were out of order. I don't even remember. And I went into, like, a freak out. Like, I would not stop thinking about it for 2 days. I was so stressed out. I was so upset. I wanted to go home. Like, I was like, we need to leave. We need to go home. I was, like, 13. Or no, I think I was 12. But yeah, I would just get super, like, it would keep me up at night, this schedule. And I had schedules for other things, but this is the thing that I remember being the most, like, would completely control my life, because if anything ever got messed up, I would just go into, like, a freak out. Anyway, so I remember I was, like, sitting there, like, the next day, and I was, like, really sad, because I was like, why am I like this? And I probably should have, I mean, I honestly don't know if asking my parents to help me would have done anything. They probably would not have taken me anywhere, because, again, they're older, and they're weird about that stuff. But, like, you know, I don't know why I didn't tell somebody, but I was just sitting there, like, why am I so mentally ill? What is wrong with me? And I was, like, scrolling on my phone, and I was like, I really want to just, like, do, like, I don't know, I just want to do something in my mind off of it. And I remember seeing, like, the whole Sonic Boom thing, and I remember seeing a new show coming out. They had, like, redesigns. I had, like, all this stuff. I think most of the first season was already out. And I was like, I'm gonna watch it. And I literally thought it was, like, the funniest thing. And I finally got to be, like, because I kind of, like, that anxiety of, like, oh my god, what if my family gets mad at me for watching a different children's cartoon than what we normally watch, that finally went away. So I didn't mind that as much. Like, so I watched Sonic Boom, like, I binged the whole first season in a day. I loved it. I bought Sonic Boom the game. I bought Sonic Lost World. I just got into Sonic. I loved it. So I didn't have, like, those same experiences I did with like Mario games where I actually, or like Animal Crossing where like that was in our house since I was like 2 years old. Sonic came more in middle school, but it was still like very important to me throughout my middle school years. And throughout like my teen years too, like until I was probably around like 15, 16, I just loved Sonic all the time. I could talk about it. I loved the music. The music was what got me into like, I wanted to learn all these instruments because I wanted to learn. I loved it. Another thing is like, what's crazy is like, I got into, because I was kind of getting bullied I didn't have a lot of friends, and I was kind of getting bullied a little bit for, you know, being into video games, so I had kind of stopped playing video games, and I only read, and like that's great, and I still love reading, but like the only thing I ever did was read, so I kind of got a little bit back into video games, and then Sonic just made everything, like I was totally back into video games after that, which ended up leading to me going online more and watching like Let's Plays, watching podcasts, like all these people, and I was like, oh, maybe I'm not like a freak, maybe like other people like the things I like, and so like I watched YouTube like all the time and Let's Plays, and I found all these channels, and it took a couple years before I really found channels. Like, looking back, those Sonic channels I was watching, they were super toxic people. They were like the parts of the fandom that were very aggressive, and I mean, the most of the Sonic fandom is aggressive, but it took me a while before I found like really good people that I love watching to this day. But like, what's insane is if it wasn't for Sonic, I don't know if I ever would have really started like going online and finding like YouTube and Let's Plays and this and that and all this stuff, and like because like when I would watch those, I was like, I want to do this, like I want to make these things, but I was too insecure at 13 because I didn't think I would be able to edit, and I thought I was too stupid to like learn stuff like that. And then I finally at 15 like decided I was just going to like sit down and teach myself how to edit. I taught myself how to edit like on my iPad on iMovie. It was horrible. And then eventually I got a computer because I needed a computer for school anyway, and I learned how to edit on my iMovie on here. And then my parents kind of saw that I was really taking editing like seriously, and they're like, we know you kind of maybe want to do something like this for college, so like they bought me Final Cut. We do not have a lot of money, by the way. Like I was like really upset that they did that, because I was like, we're gonna go into poverty because you bought me this. But yeah, the reason I want to bring all this up is because, again, like if it wasn't for Sonic, I don't think I would have ever really gotten into any of this social media stuff. I mean, I know I would eventually, because I'm like a kid growing up in the year 2022, I'm 19. But like, if 8 years ago, because I'm gonna be 20 very soon, okay, right? And if 8 years ago I did not have an OCD breakdown and decide to go look at Sonic again and then really enjoy Sonic, I don't know what my life would be like right now, because literally I got offered a job as a social media manager, right? And it could fall through, like it's a very iffy thing right now. We don't really know what's going on. But like, if it wasn't for Sonic, I would never even have that, because I would have never learned how to edit and how to do like YouTube things and social media things. And it's just insane. The reason I'm bringing any of this up is because I want to talk about, well, like this game's amazing, but some of the reasons why I think this game is so like groundbreaking in this franchise is because, okay, so like we know for the past 10 years, it's been very hit or miss, like over 10 years, honestly, since Sonic 06, maybe even a little bit before that, because I've heard like iffy things about Shadow the Hedgehog. But I don't know, I've never played it, and like at least the story and the aesthetic of Shadow seemed like it was keeping on track with the Sonic brand. It was just like the gameplay was a little scuffed from what I heard. I'm not sure. I've heard like either or. But like, you know, since Sonic 06, it's kind of been, everything's kind of just been a hit or miss. More misses than hits, right? And a lot of the reasons for that is because after Sonic 06, they just kept rushing. And I think from what I remember, like, I think Sonic 06 lost them a lot of money, which is why they were probably doing stuff like that. Like, just, like, not putting effort into things. Not totally sure. I forget if that was some of the reasons why. But, like, what's just insane is it's like, maybe if you stopped and put effort in like you did with this game, people would like Sonic again and you would make more money. You can really tell. You can tell that there was effort. Like, some stuff scuffed. The cutscenes look kind of weird. Sometimes sometimes things get messed up, you know? And I had another thing where I moved the camera in a cutscene and then my camera got locked and I had to reset my game. But that's fine. We'll overlook that. But the reason this is like so phenomenal is it's like another thing. Generations was really good, right? But Generations was kind of pandering off of our nostalgia, and that's fine. But then like Forces also did that. There was Mania, which Mania was also good, but it's like at a point you can tell they really were just like, if we make things nostalgic, people will like it. And I got really frustrated with that. And I'm still kind of frustrated. Like, I wish we had original levels in this game, but it makes sense for the plot why we're doing like the cyberspace area. Like, it's fine. I can overlook it. This is the reason why I love this so much, is because this is the first Sonic game in a really long time that just feels fresh. And like fresh, like there's just, it's its own thing. Like I was saying with the fishing area, it made me very nostalgic because it reminded me of being like in middle school again. The fishing, you know, reminds me of Sonic Adventure. The music reminds me of like SA2 Unleashed, but it's not a copy of it. And it's not like trying super hard to be those things. It just is. Like, it's just taking some fundamentals of previous Sonic games and working around them versus like using them, if that makes sense. Like, it's not an exact copy of the song from SA2, but it sounds a lot like it. Like, with the jazzy things, a lot of people might even disagree, and it could just be me hearing that. Like, just the fact, though, that it's just its own thing, and it's not pandering off of previous things, but it's kind of taking them a little bit and using them without shoving them down our throats, makes me really adore this game, and I really hope that years to come, this is, like, what the Sonic games are like now. I don't care if we have to wait 5 years for every game. I would rather wait 5 years and have a really good game than wait 2 years and have something I'm really, really frustrated with. So yeah, that was my little Sonic rant. I just really wanted to talk about this game and talk about how it made me cry. So I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope it did put you to sleep. I feel like there were other things I did want to discuss. Like, I have a very hard time talking about my faith because I struggle with my faith. You know, I'm a human. And, like, honestly, I do think that, I know that there was some, Jesus was to play in some of this because it was a very random thought, me at 13 after, like, a psychotic OCD breakdown. I was like, let me go watch the Sonic cartoon. You know, because, like, I had not been thinking about Sonic at all, but it is just, like, insane. Like, I'm gonna have this whole job thing and, like, possible career because of that, and, like, Jesus, right? But, like, also, it's Sonic, and, like, and it's just so weird to think about. Another thing is the fact that, like, they also changed the writing, and I'm pretty sure from what I heard, the story was written by the guy that's currently doing the comics. And the fact that they're referencing, like, other things, and again, not in a pushy way. Like, they're not referencing, like, oh my god, Sonic Green Hill Zone, like they have done the last couple years. The fact that they'll just casually be like, this is a little bit spoilery, but if you get the egg memos from Big, and you can hear, like, Eggman talking and taking notes, and he's talking about, like, the Babylonians, and the Black Arms, and, like, all this stuff. He talked about Maria. I don't think we've talked about Maria in a main Sonic game since Shadow the Hedgehog, which is so stupid because she's such an important part of the plot in both Shadow the Hedgehog and SA2, and, like, you'd think that we would bring her up more, but, like, no. And the fact that they just casually mention stuff like that blows my mind, because I feel like I'm actually in Sonic World again, you know? Like, I don't feel like I'm just in this, like, weird one-off-ish land where nothing we do matters or is going to affect the future of the stories and stuff. I actually feel like I'm in, like, a cohesive story world, which I have not felt in a Sonic game in years, because it really has not been cohesive at all. From what I remember, the writers for Sonic Colors, I don't remember if I read, like, an article or I was listening to a podcast or something, but they did not know, like, a lot about Sonic at all. They had just watched some old cutscenes. And they were like, oh, we get, and then they just wrote it. They were like, oh, we get this, and then they just like wrote the story out. And it's like, I don't even get that. Because also, really quick, if I was a writer, if I was writing a whole story for a game, I would 100% watch every bit of content I could to make sure I understand the characters in the world. That's just me. No bad mouthing to them. The fact, like, it's just, it makes such a big difference in this game because I literally feel like we're in Sonic World, and I've not felt that in years. I think I already said that. I might be repeating myself because I'm tired. And we're gonna end this little podcasty thing. I hope you have an amazing day. I hope you go buy Sonic Frontiers. I hope if you haven't bought Sonic Frontiers yet, you go watch my new Let's Play I'm gonna start of it. You don't actually have to do that, because honestly, I don't know how consistently I'm gonna upload that. But like, if you want to, it's gonna be there. I'm sorry if I got the information wrong about the Sonic Colors writers, because I honestly don't remember where I read or saw that. I just think that I'm pretty sure that's what's going on, so if it's not what's going on, please don't yell at me. Please don't yell at me, I'm very sensitive, and I'll cry. I won't actually cry, I don't care. Anyway, I hope you have a great day. I'm gonna head out now.